MG's electric cars and SUVs have been a massive success, particularly here with UK customers, and now the brand is doubling down on both of those with their largest fully electric SUV yet. This is Inside China Auto, and this is the MG S6 EV. Yes, this is the MG S6 EV, MG's largest current model, and therefore of course their largest fully electric car as well. At 4.7 metres long, this car is about 20 centimetres longer than the Citroën C4 Aircross and the Renault Scenic. It's about 10 centimetres longer than the Geely EX5 that we recently drove on the channel, putting it in the same ballpark as the class-leading Tesla Model Y. Now if we pop open the bonnet, we actually find the MG S6 has a bit of a trump card over the Model Y, which itself has a very large frunk. This one is bigger at 124 litres, about 7 litres larger than you'll find on a Model Y. Admittedly, it goes down to about 102 litres if you get the dual motor version of this car. Nevertheless, it's a very useful space. You can easily get one carry-on case in there, or you can get 3 backpacks in there. So whether you're putting your charging cables or dirty football boots or whatever, doesn't matter. It's good that we get a large space at the front of the S6. Styling wise, we retain a lot of the handsome looks of the MG S5. We get the same kind of soft closed face on here. We get these sharp daytime running lamps. They double up as your indicators. Your headlamps are out at the side, and we get the same splitter as you get on the MG Cyberster to give it a little bit of a sporty look at the front. It's not really that sporty down the side. We get very soft shoulder lines on this, a little bit of a gentle crease down there. Nevertheless, it's a well-proportioned car, I would say. The wheels do fit this really well. Really like this red paint colour, by the way. Thank you for giving us a bright coloured press car MG. A few people have commented that this is a very nice red. We get large physical door handles, mechanical style, so they'll be fine in China. We also, because we have the trophy version of this car, get a 360-degree camera, which is very useful. And again, because we get the trophy version, we get the larger 20-inch alloys. The entry-level SE version gets 19-inch wheels. But again, they do really fill the arches very well, give this car some very good proportions. Suspension-wise, we get McPherson struts at the front, we get multi-link suspension at the rear, which gives this car quite a reasonable driving experience, but I'll get into that in the driving section. At the rear, the S6 is again really quite attractive, and I would say quite sporty as well. We get a large spoiler up there at the top. We get an admittedly oversized diffuser down at the bottom. That's not really going to do anything in practice, but does borrow from the racy styling of the MG4 X-Power to make this car look a little bit more sporty. Of course, like most cars, we get a full-width daytime running light across the back now with a few attractive little features in there. Fairly squared off shoulders on the S6. Our charging port is here on the left side. We do get a rear window wiper, and we should also get a foot operated boot lid. Now, I have managed to get this to work by accident twice. Like most of these systems, that appears to be a secret sauce that I haven't quite figured out yet. But on the trophy versions of this car, you get an electronic boot lid that unlocks up to 674 litres of space in the boot. Now, if that sounds quite large, that's because they measure it to the roof using the same metric as Tesla, so it's probably quite the same size as most in the back here. Good useful space, about 1 metre deep. We don't get a dual height floor though. We also don't get any extra space under the boot floor, so it's not as practical as some cars could be. You do get little nets on either side though, and of course our parcel shelf. The rear seats do fold down 60/40 to unlock up to 1,910 litres of space, and the S6 is also available with towing of up to 1.5 tonnes. So if you do have to caravan or trailers, things like that, you can do that with the S6. A lot of modern electric cars get criticised for their bland, samey interior styling centred around a large tablet screen on the dashboard. In contrast, I would say the S6 does a really quite a good job of straddling the line between the new world and the more traditional world. So yes, we do still get a 12.8-inch touchscreen on the dashboard, but we also get a bit of physical controls as well. And this interior overall is really quite attractive. It's a bit different, a bit more stylish. We get nice materials. We get rubber on the dashboard there. We get this kind of fake carbon fiber. on the dashboard and on the center console. A lot better than gloss black plastic, no dirty fingerprints, and it's got some real texture to it as well, so it feels nice to the touch. We get fake leather on the dashboard and the center console and in the doors. All your harder plastics are really kept down to the bottom, so it feels modern, feels fresh. We've got it in this kind of grey interior colour. If you get the trophy, I think the dual motor version, you can also get kind of a white or a cream colour, but both of them, I would say, really look quite attractive. As I said, we do still get a 12.8 inch screen in the center here. It runs on MG's iSmart operating system. Quite a good operating system. It's not always the fastest, slightly laggy, but you get these good tabs on the front that you can use. You get wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as standard, and apps for Spotify, YouTube, TikTok and Amazon. So your full spectrum near enough of social media and music streaming apps at the same time. We get tabs at the bottom for controlling our heated seats and heated steering wheel, 360-degree camera and things like that. What I really like about the new MG system is in the options where you get the MG Pilot Custom. So you can turn off all the bings and bongs that you don't want to have going off all the time. Save that as your profile and simply press that every time you get in. You have to do it by law, press the button, but at least you can do it all in one place rather than turn them off one by one like you have to do in other cars, like the Sea Lion 7, for example. So a pretty good operating system there. As well as that, we get a 10.25 inch screen embedded into the dashboard here. You can get your maps on there, so you don't have to look in the center. You get a lot of useful information on there as well. And on the trophy version of the S6, you also get a head-up display as well, which is quite large and bright, and you can get your navigation in there as well. As I said, in terms of the physical controls, we do get a belt of kind of switches and rolls and dials and things on here. So same as you get on MG4s, you get two rolls on either side to control the temperature. You get a toggle for your fan speed and for your volume, and some physical buttons for your front and rear blasters. On your steering wheel, which I really quite like, this kind of slightly octagonal shape with pricked leather on the side, feels quite racy. You get a lot of buttons on there too, including two customizable buttons, which I've got with my 360-degree camera that you get on the trophy versions. And on this side, you can change your drive mode because we don't get a physical button to switch between eco, comfort and sport and things like that. The thing I don't like about the center console is the drive selector. So some MGs have now moved over to the stalk. This feels a bit clunky for my liking. You have to press the brake down really far to switch between reverse and drive, bit annoying, and it takes up a lot of space. Nevertheless, we do still get a 50-watt ventilated wireless charger, so good quick phone charging in the center. We get a pair of cup holders, as you would expect, large storage bin in the middle, more space under here, pair of USB-C sockets over there, and we get a reasonable sized glove box at the same time. Now, I mentioned that we've got the grey interior colour on the SE version of this car. You'll get the same kind of cloth grey interior as we had on the MG4. In the trophy versions, we get a split between this kind of fake leather and suede. Again, lovely interior materials. These are quite nice. The seats themselves, not the most embracing, let's say. The side bolsters are not particularly massive, but on the trophy versions of the car, we get 6-way electronic adjustment for the driver and lumbar support as well. We get 4-way electronic adjustment for the passenger. The driving position itself is quite good. I would say we sit quite low in the car. I'm more comfortable in this than I was in the Sea Lion 7. With the electronic seats, we also get 3 positions of memory saving as well. So if you're changing the car with your family, you can save the position that you want on there. All versions of the car get heating on the front 2 seats and the steering wheel. The trophy version adds ventilation for the 2 front seats and also puts heating on the 2 outer rear seats as well. So plenty of kit in this car. The trophy versions also add this large panoramic roof with an electronic sun blind. So overall, I would say the trophy version probably one of the ones to go for because you get a lot more of that extra kit. As I mentioned, the S6 is about 20 centimeters longer than some of its mid-size SUV rivals, and that does translate into more space in the back of the car. You can see, even with the driver's seat in the welcome stance, which is about as far back as it will go and as low as it will go, I've still got plenty of space here. Good amount of room for my knees, plenty of wiggle room for my feet, loads of headroom, and it does feel quite wide and spacious. Admittedly, the back seat base cushion is a little bit on the soft side, feels a bit like those old cars, French cars from the 90s, but you do still get good thigh support, and it is genuinely quite comfortable back here. You can enhance that with your armrest. You get a pair of cup holders and a phone holder in there, same height as your door armrest, so all nice and balanced back here. bit better than in the C-Line 7, I would say. We do miss out on the practicality of the EX5 because that would have a 30-litre draw down here. It would be nice to have that in the S6, but we do still get twin USB-C sockets down there, and we get little vents to control the direction of the airflow as well. We get pockets on the back of the front seats and in the doors. As I mentioned on the Trophy version, we also get heated seats on the 2 outer seats as well. The Isofix mountings, they're behind this kind of Velcro flap here. Can be a little bit of a faff to get in there, but it's nice and easy once you fold the flap down, so good easy access there. Overall, I would say, quite a comfortable rear seat. But is the S6 like an MG to drive? Let's check out that seat. One of the areas where the S6 really separates itself from Chinese rivals like the Geely EX5 and the BYD C-Line 7 is that it's actually quite enjoyable to drive. This is a fun SUV. It's quite a bit more firmly sprung than both of those two models, yet not so much so that it crashes over the UK's really chopped up, potholed roads. It makes it actually pretty dynamic and engaging on country roads, and you've got quite a good amount of steering feel, even in the standard, normal and comfort modes. In sport mode, of course, that gets a little bit more precise. Yep, you're not going to be quite as engaged as you are in a Tesla Model Y, but as SUVs go, this is really quite fun. Now, of course, it is quite sprightly, being a fully electric car. We get 2 choices of drivetrains on the S6. You can get a single motor on the rear axle. That's 180 kilowatts, 350 newton meters of torque. It'll do 0 to 100 kilometers per hour or 62 miles per hour in 7.3 seconds. Not super quick, but plenty fast enough for the kind of traffic you're going to be driving in. The dual motor Trophy version comes with an additional motor on the front axle for 266 kilowatts in total and 540 newton meters of torque. That will do the 0 to 100 kilometer per hour sprint in 5.1 seconds. Not quite as quick as some dual motored options, but nevertheless still pretty fast. Batteries are limited to just the one 77 kilowatt hour NMC battery for all versions. In the single motor versions, that will get you a claimed 329 miles of range on the WLTP cycle, and on the dual motor Trophy version will get you 301 miles. In reality, I've done about 125 miles with about 65% of the battery. Extrapolated out, that's about 77% of the claimed range of this car, so not particularly great on WLTP. That being said, most of what I've been doing has been in urban start-stop settings and on country roads as well. Not really a lot of cruising, so that is probably responsible for the additional energy usage there. Overall, I'd say it's probably quite standard, certainly not as efficient as a Tesla. In terms of the charging, you'll be able to do DC fast charging up to 144 kilowatts. That's a little bit slower than an EX5 and a bit slower than the base version of the C-Line 7. So not the fastest charging, it will do 10 to 80% in 38 minutes. So again, quite a bit slower than both of those, but nevertheless, reasonable. The downside is that you only get 7 kilowatt AC charging, so it's also going to be a little bit slower to charge at home as well. You might expect to perhaps get 11 kilowatt AC charging on the S6. Pricing of the S6 is really quite reasonable. The SE version, which is the base trim, starts at £37,995, and you don't really get quite as much kit on that as you do on the Trophy long range version. That's the one I would probably go for. That's the one we're driving today. This one starts at £40,995, and the flagship dual motor version costs £43,995. The point there is that all 3 of those come in at cheaper than the base price of a Tesla Model Y. So you get quite a bit of kit. Obviously you miss out on things like the efficiency isn't quite as good and you don't get the supercharger network, but if you don't really mind those things, you really get a lot of kit in this car. One final thing to talk about is of course the ADAS. You only get things like adaptive cruise control and lane keeping assist on this. You don't get lever activated overtakes. Haven't really had the chance to use it that much, but I did try it on the MG4 and it was acceptable on that. Nothing particularly special. To be fair, this is a car that you're probably going to want to drive more than you are going to be driven around in it. It's a car that is quite fun to drive overall. I would say that it is well equipped on the safety side. It's a 5-star Euro NCAP car, so it's safe on that respect, and you get 7 airbags in here as well, including one here in the center. So overall, not a bad piece of kit. So that's it for our review of the MG S6 EV. Is this the new king of value-oriented mid-size electric SUVs? Honestly, it's hard to argue against that. This is a car that packs a lot of good stuff in, from its really quite well appointed and quite attractive interior. It's got loads of space, both for occupants and for luggage, both front and rear. And it's pretty well equipped, as you would expect from an MG. Yes, the infotainment system, it's functional, but it is lagging a little bit in terms of the style and slickness of some other systems. And it doesn't quite charge as fast as some other rivals, but it goes plenty far enough. And you know what? Even though this car is lacking a pretty decent ADAS system, it doesn't matter, because this is a car that you're actually going to want to drive. It's really well suited to UK roads. The ride is good, the handling is fun. It's quite engaging, even on country roads, and it does handle its size really, really well. I actually have very much enjoyed driving the S6, particularly more so than a lot of cars out of China, like the C-Line 7 and the Geely EX5, for example. So I think it's got a lot going for it, and it is, of course, absolutely value-packed. Yes, you'll pay less for a C4 Aircross or for a Scenic, but I think you get a lot more value for money with the S6. Thank you very much for watching. If you do, thank you for subscribing. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up so more people can see the great cars coming out of China. And as ever, we'll catch you next time.